Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. It's time once more to talk about that derby game yesterday. We're going to kind of review and recap everything that we might have missed out of yesterday's match reaction. We're going to look at the bigger picture, and ultimately we're going to look at how Celtic are now 6 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership table and the reaction that's come alongside that. Yeah, thanks for the support yesterday on the video. Thank you for everybody as well who reached out to wish me well. I wasn't feeling too great yesterday, but I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm looking forward to talking more about Celtic, and I was glad that I managed to get that video done yesterday. It was an opportunity I didn't want to miss, because, you know, it's been tough talking about derby games for the last couple of years up until very recently. So, you know, I've got to take these opportunities, but we're back today. So please make sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy. We are just a number of subscribers away from 33,000, which is mad. So if we could hit that over the next 24 hours, that would be insane. But yeah, let's talk about that game. So very quickly, let's kind of recap on the game a little bit now. I've done my overall match reaction video, which basically covers everything from the first to the last whistle. But I feel like it's good to kind of touch on that again, because it's something that we're not going to forget anytime soon. A massive result for Celtic, which has really now set the tone for the remainder of this season. It's really gave us an opportunity to push on and win that league title. You know, we're 6 points clear. We've got one more game against Rangers, and we've got the split in St Johnstone to go. It's a league title that is ours to lose at this rate. Look, I don't want to touch wood as I've done yesterday. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouths here or put the pressure on myself by having these bold claims come out, but at the end of the day, we're in a very favourable position. You know, we should be winning this league title at this point. I would be rather upset if we didn't, but I'm very confident that we will, and that's the thing about yesterday's game. If anything, that game yesterday has done nothing but just raise the confidence levels of not just me, but every Celtic fan, and winning this league title and perhaps going to win a treble, but overall just as where we are as a football club right now. The kind of change from the start of the season to this moment, it's unbelievable, and we will touch on that in this video, but it's insane. And that performance and that win yesterday has really now gave us all that sort of platform to come out and say how confident we are that we will go and win this league, because we just look miles and miles better than Rangers, and that's the reality of it. Rangers, for me, look very weak. They look as though they lack a lot of character, a lot of personality. They're very boring, and I feel like they're missing winners. Whereas Celtic look as though we are just filled with winners. Winners all over the park, personality all over the park, and ultimately an attitude which will hopefully carry us over the line. I feel like that's one thing. There's a spirit there at Celtic this season that Rangers, for winning a title last season, for stopping a 10 in a row last season, don't have. I know, honestly, I know what it's going to be like. I know in the comments section I'm going to keep getting told about this European run. That's all well and good, okay, if you go and win the Europa League, but, you know, in reality, if you don't go and win that competition, there's a very strong chance you end this season with nothing. And then in the league, you've handed a title to a side who had no right to win it. And that's not me that's saying we had no right to win it. That was yourself. That was Rangers fans who were saying it. So for me yesterday, that performance just shown, for me, the gap between the two sides at the moment, domestically anyway, and how good we are and how poised we are to go and hopefully win this title. I really hope like words like that don't come back to bite me, and I'm really confident that won't happen. But that's just the beauty of this, isn't it? It's the beauty of how football works. But Ange Postecoglou has done a fantastic job, and I am so confident in saying everything that I say. I wouldn't say it if I didn't think it. There is so many performances from yesterday that really stood out to me, and as I said in yesterday's match reaction, I feel it's actually harsh to leave out some players. You know, you can run through everybody in the team yesterday and really say something good about them, but there was a few that just stood above the rest, and they were just fantastic. You look at players like Maida yesterday, he ran and he ran and he ran. Without him playing yesterday, I think there could have been a massive difference in how that game panned out. I don't know how much, if that would have changed the result or such, but I think that his presence alone was really intimidating for Rangers. The running, the pressing, it was just really, really good. And it was like, even when he didn't have the ball, he was moving. He was really asking questions of Rangers, both defensively and offensively, because they couldn't do anything against him. And then when he was running at them, it was hard for them to cope with him as well. So he was just brilliant for me yesterday, for example. And the more that I've sat and watched back on yesterday's game and his performance in yesterday's game, the more I think to myself, wow, he deserves so much credit. I think there was an interesting stat I seen on Twitter earlier about how he had 27 more pressing runs or something like that than his normal average, which is just insane. He just seems like he runs on limitless batteries. It's unbelievable. And he stood out for me big time yesterday. And there's Greg Taylor, I thought he was great. You can run through every single player in that team yesterday and you can say something positive about them. There was really not a lot of negatives. I think early on in the game we looked a little bit shaky defensively. You seen Juranovic struggle when it came to that first goal, but we picked ourselves up. We went out with a confidence when we got that equaliser that made it our game. You know, we went to their backyard, we were the better side, we asked the questions and Rangers couldn't find the answers. So I said in this video I wanted to talk more about the bigger picture and all the kind of narratives that come out of this game alongside the result. We've touched a lot on the game itself and the football itself from the first to the last whistle. If you want more of that, as I said, go and check out my match reaction video. But there's so much we have to talk about. Going into this game, there was a lot of little narratives. There was a lot of little things you could have looked at and looked at the result of once the game had finished. And now we can look on all of those narratives because there's so many. And social media has been a fun place to be over the past 24 hours. If you look at both sides, there's such a stark difference, as there always is after a derby win or a derby defeat. You're always going to have this very stark difference of attitudes on both sides of the divide. However, the last 24 hours especially has been one of the most memorable and one of the funniest of recent times. I've enjoyed looking at the reaction on both sides, and I think it is a kind of, you know, I will say that, you know, social media doesn't always represent everybody. It doesn't represent every fan or the common fan or whatever it is, a minority or, you know, of the supports. But I think that now more than ever after this game, both sides, the reaction on there has been really sort of an honest reflection as to where both clubs are at the moment, and the stark difference of where both clubs are now compared to where they were at the start of the season. It's really funny how it's taken that turn. It is absolutely sublime to look now back on the comments that were made towards Ange Postecoglou, towards the Celtic team, towards Celtic fans from the start of the season, when we were in a bit of a predicament, when we were in the unknown, if you like. And I don't even just mean that from a point of view as a supporter, getting slagged by other supporters. I mean, you look at the general reaction from the media, from all these big Twitter pages, you know, all your betting companies, you looked at all the reaction that was taken in, and Celtic were wrote off. Celtic were laughed at. Days into the season, weeks into the season, I think there was a tweet that Footy Accumulators put up, for example, at the start of the season. It was something, nothing to do with Scottish football whatsoever, but the premise of the tweet was basically to say Celtic are 6th in the Scottish Premiership. Well, the only 6 that matters now is that we're 6 points clear. Postecoglou wasn't given a chance by everyone outside of Celtic, and that's reality. Mostly everyone, the vast majority of people, they wanted to laugh, they wanted Celtic to fail. And now that Celtic are in the position that we're in, it is hilarious to watch the backtracking. It's hilarious to watch the retreat of all these people, the silence, as they can't answer. They can't respond to what has happened. It's somewhat unbelievable to them. It's unbelievable to me, the fact that we're in the position we are in now. But the difference is between Celtic fans and the outside is we wanted the success. We believed in the success and we were patient. We wanted to see it work out. Whereas everything has gone the opposite way from what everybody else wanted, and I couldn't be fucking happier. I couldn't be happier for Ange Postecoglou. I couldn't be happier for this Celtic team. And I couldn't be happier now to look at every single stupid dick's tweets on Twitter and social media in general who are left there without an answer to what they thought was going to happen, and how everything has went the exact opposite direction. The silence is almost deafening, and you could feel it yesterday as Celtic effectively took one step towards the league title or put one hand on the title. You could feel the sort of animosity of all these people, and you could feel the sort of, oh no, you know, there was that, oh no, he's proven us wrong, he's proven us a dafty. and the tweets are getting dug up and such. It's happened to me before. Look, we all know what happened with me and Shane Duffy, for example, right? I thought Shane Duffy was going to come in. He was going to be the best centre-half in Scotland, and he was sent in his arse. He was sent packing down to England, and it didn't work out. I know the exact feeling, but this is on another level. This is on another scale. This was everybody against Celtic, and now we're the ones reaping the rewards. And now we're the ones that can sit back and laugh when we were the ones getting laughed at. And alongside that, the reaction on the other side, on Rangers' side has been nothing short of toxic. It has been hilarious to watch the sort of mini meltdown that's going on. Some fans will be, obviously, as you'd expect, more reserved than others. There'll be ones that are looking at it with common sense, with a little bit of patience. But there's so much rewriting of history going on again. And we've spoken about it. It's like this side, it's as if Rangers fans have got this almost obsession with rewriting history. And it's hilarious to watch. It's frustrating yet hilarious. Because they done it when they won the league last season. They rewrote history as if what Celtic had accomplished over the course of that decade meant nothing. You know, apparently it only mattered about the 10. It didn't matter that we won a quadruple treble. That was nothing. But that was rewrote to suggest it was futile. Where in reality was we dominated that decade. We're back on top now, by the way. But there was so much rewriting of everything that went on over that 10 years and Rangers coming back into the league. And it's happening again now. I'm seeing all these Rangers fans turning against Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. And as I said, I'll say it again, there will be Rangers fans who look at it a little bit more reserved and a little bit more patiently, but there's so many turning their back against Gio Van Bronckhorst when 3 weeks ago, you know, they were still going to win the league, and in Europe they were so special and Gio was the answer. But what really frustrates me is I'm seeing so many tweets and such saying if Gerrard was still in charge, this would never have happened. Van Bronckhorst has ruined this, etc, etc. When Van Bronckhorst came in to replace Gerrard, right at the start, the day that Gerrard left, I swear to God, every tweet I seen and every caller I heard on the Super Scoreboard and everything else was saying, do you know what, deep down I'm actually quite happy Gerrard's gone. We were getting stale. And they were stale. They were shite for weeks leading up to him leaving the club, I thought. Not maybe shite, they were still getting results, but they certainly weren't great. And then Gio came in and it was a couple of good performances right away. Oh, this is brilliant. Gio's bringing back football, blah, blah, blah. Now they want him away. Like, what's happening? I don't know. You know, it feels like, you know, there's just that rewriting going on again. Personally, you know, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. It's not my club at the end of the day. But it's funny to watch. And the reaction online has been nothing short of hilarious so far. And look, that's what happens. That's the thing about this derby. And I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite. I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, that it doesn't happen the other way about. Because it does, of course. When Celtic lose titles, when we've seen what happened last year, and you still get dug up about it. You know, we were out protesting outside Celtic Park. Fair enough. I mean, I wasn't there, but I don't care. And people will always say, Ryan, you were great entertainment last season when Celtic were getting lost. I came to watch your videos. Number one, I still feel like I came on and done my videos with a little bit of a dignity and I tried to be as level-headed as I could despite the crippling mess that was Celtic. But you know, it's just great to watch when you are on the other side of it. And that's what this derby is. This is what this rivalry is. We're reactionary on both sides. But this one and this time, it just feels a little bit different. And I'm really enjoying myself while watching it. A couple more things I want to quickly cover, and what has been a long video. As I said, this is like I should have done a podcast today to try and cover all of this in much more depth. But there's so many things that you can talk about and dissect from that game yesterday. One that I want to talk about is the Old Firm branding that was brandished around Ibrox Park yesterday. The tunnel with the big gateway saying, this is the Old Firm, and the sponsor boards being lit up, and this is the Old Firm. It's quite frankly embarrassing. It's one of the weirdest things I have ever seen at a football ground in a football match in my life. The obsession with this phrase Old Firm is, let it go. Does it, if you want to call, I'm not use it if you want, right? Call it the Old Firm derby. I'm not bored, I'm not fussed, I'm above it all, to be quite frank. But you don't brandish it around your stadium trying to make some sort of point. You just look weirdly obsessed with a phrase that, you know, rightly or wrongly is questioned. And it's this weird obsession, I feel like, to cling on to Celtic to remain relevant. I don't know. Is it to remain relevant? The fact of the matter is, Celtic have stopped using the phrase because we all know the situation, what happened with Rangers. And, quite frankly, Celtic are in the right. Rangers, ended up liquidated. You can argue that is or not the same club. But, there's no need to put it right. It's just weird. It was weird to see, and it's even better to see actually today the advertising or the big gateway they walked through lying in the bin at Ibrox. What a waste of money, and also what a waste of time. All of that to make some sort of point in amongst everything that's happened with the Australia derby and everything else. Honestly, some of the most petty and weird behaviour I've ever seen a football club ever hit out with. I really don't understand. And I know that's going to rattle a few cages if you're a Rangers fan watching to this point and that's happened and you're annoyed by my comments towards it. I literally do not care because it's weird and you can't convince me otherwise. It's oddly obsessive. Get over it. And talking about behaviour, one of the final things I want to talk about, this has been a long one today, it has. Talk about behaviour, we can not touch on the situation at Ibrox yesterday with missiles, with bottles, and numerous different occasions at the stadium. Look, if you know me personally, you'll know I love a bit of banter when it comes to these games. You'll know that I love the back and forth, the rivalry, the name calling. It's what this rivalry is about, and I like the fun side of it. But there is times it goes too far, and there's times where you've got to question. I'd be embarrassed if I was a Celtic fan at any stage in that game yesterday, whether it was throwing the bottle on at half-time towards Joe Hart, whether it was hitting the physio at the end of the game, whether it was when the Celtic players were celebrating. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be absolutely embarrassed. Numerous occasions throughout yesterday's game stuff was getting thrown on. And I'm not one of these ones. I'm not an ambulance chaser. I don't want to come out of my videos and moan about fan behaviour and say that you're already this, that, next thing. But that was yesterday. Absolutely ridiculous. Celtic physio, of course, needed numerous stitches in his head for being bottled or having a bottle thrown at him. Glass being on the park at half-time, delaying the second half, which ultimately results in nothing for Rangers. I mean, if your hope was to see the game called off, then maybe, but results in nothing. At the end of the day, Rangers players are going to be sliding about that grass anyway, so if you want to give your own players an injury, then that's fine. I'm not bothered about that, but it's ridiculous throwing it onto the park. Yeah, I mean, you're doing nothing but achieving a ban from the stadium. It really makes no sense to me. But just numerous occasions, and it was good to see the Celtic team laughing it off at the end of the game when they could and when they were given that opportunity. Scott Bain was having a great laugh, shouting at the Rangers supporters. But in all seriousness, it's good seeing the laughing and the shaking of it off. But someone was hurt. Somebody was seriously injured yesterday. The Celtic physio had to get stitched. His job's been a physio, for fuck's sake, right? He's got his Ibrox to look after players, to sit on the bench and get through with reasonably stress-free, if you like. And he's had to go home yesterday with stitches in his head because some nutters decided, you know what, I'm going to launch a ball in the park. It's fucking stupid. Have a look at yourself. I'm quite embarrassed. And as I said, if it was a Celtic fan, I'd be embarrassed as well. But honestly, petty, weird and strange behaviour. 3, 2, 1. As I'm recording, there's been breaking news that there's going to be a VAR vote in Scotland over the next month, 19th of April. We're going to be looking at that. So you can tell who won the game yesterday. But we'll wait and see. We'll see the results of that. We'll talk about it on the podcast and we'll talk about it in more depth in the channel tomorrow because there's been so much I've covered here. I just want us to now go out, stick the knife in and twist it and win this league title with a bit of indiction. Hopefully win a treble as well. But we'll wait and see. Right, there we go. That's today's video. Like and subscribe. See you next time.